sign off. And it is not a big deal. Because we have some people who will even come and tell me that why do I need technical clearance when the position was there and the person has left and then. But the point is that some institutions would say that this position was available in times past. I was only waiting for the person for it to become vacant so that perhaps I could lapse it to do another role or to merge this role, etc. All that means that your organogram and the scheme of service will have to change to reflect those new thinking. And so that is why you will need a technical clearance to say that as at this time, this is what has been signed off. At any point in time, if there's a need for a review, it means that we will have to do that review based on your current circumstances and whatever you've been asking for. So these are things that we need to do. And it's part of, keeping our public service in the right shape, as it were. Otherwise, organizations that have money, the IGF, will say we have money. So we want this, we want that, we want that. Those, therefore, it's not their fault that they are subvented and they don't have. They cannot do anything. That will not inure to the benefit of our public service. Thank you.
Can I quickly...
Hello. I think we need to have a little bit of this thing, some extended time on this.
Yes.
Because there is the Ministry of Finance has put together, they call it a compensation. Honorable MP is here, he's been in the Ministry of Finance, a compensation management team in place. One of the major challenges facing the country now is public sector wage bill. That constitutes 60% of that. We say we are not being paid well, but it's 60% of our revenue that and that is way too high. It should be around 30-40%. But the challenge that we have is the fact that appointments are not linked to finance. So what we normally do is that, in fact, Ministry of Finance, all recruitments should rather even start with the Ministry of Finance. They tell us that they have this pot of money. And there are a lot of times you bring your technical clearance and you will not hear from us. Like you said, you have not heard from us. Because the Ministry of Finance will tell us, don't process any technical clearance. Because we do not have the money for that. But we cannot write to you and say that Ministry of Finance says don't process, because that is an interim measure. Whenever they tell us that, we have this thing processing, then we will process some. And that is key, because you realize that it's not only the technical or financial clearance. Now we have almost 6,000 teachers, Ghana Health Service, how many? 8,000. They had financial clearance. They did not recruit within the period, and the year elapsed. And they had given these staff appointment letters. Meanwhile, they had not put them on government's payroll. So as far as the Ministry of Finance is concerned, the year has lapsed. Nobody has employment. But these people have letters. And that is why you have teachers and this thing saying that we have worked for 18 months, we have worked for 6 months, but we have not been paid. Every recruitment has to end by 31st December. Or take it that it is. So the proposal is rather... please, I wanted the Chief Director of Ministry of Finance is supposed to be here. He's not in. But I'm not saying this is what is going to happen. But the proposal which the minister has put forward, but that hasn't yet been, this thing is that, why don't we issue the appointment letters the last? When you have actually, you are about to be put on the payroll, then we issue, and that will be he is handling what we call the HRMIS, Human Resource Management Information. So the idea is that in future, I'm not saying this now, agencies will not issue appointment letters. The appointment letters will be computer generated, which is HRMIS. And immediately it's generated, you are put on the payroll. So there will be no arrears. We are only talking about, please, it will not affect VRA and all others. You are the non-subvented, but those on the mechanized payroll, so that there will be no arrears. I hope you understand what it means. So they are putting in place measures, or we are putting in place measures to ensure that, one, we cut down on ghost names. Whether you are right, we have fought against ghost names. It still keeps coming up. But that is why we're ensuring that the HRMIS will generate a lot of these things, so that it takes this human touch from us. But I hope we can go to the next set. Please come. Mental health, yes. We were talking about this morning, wellness. But I'm surprised to have the head of mental health ask a question I know you are sitting close to. The head of mental health ask a question on mental health for me. Someone who is not a doctor to answer. But I think it's important. And you see, when you come for an interview, the last time, and this is, please don't laugh, but it's important. There's a section on this interview which says that hobbies, and people think it's a joke. So there was one instance we asked the question, what is your hobby? And someone said, I like dancing traditional dance. And this was the CEO. We wanted to check, so we said, then dance the traditional dance. And the person was, so it's just that the person had only responded because he thought that we would let the person go. But he mentioned the dance. We asked that, hello? It is not healthy. We are talking about 24 hours, but we don't want you to work 24 hours. You, as an individual. How would we create more jobs? So please, you need to take this mental health exercise. Hello? Yes. Fine. All right.
So just a bit on the mental health and the wellness. I think what we would want to propose, which is something that we have been looking at from the PS's point of view, is that as CEOs and board chairs, as institutions, it is very important for us to take this very seriously. There's so much burnout among our staff, and they might not be telling you, so it affects productivity. What they could have done when they have rejuvenated and all that, it's not happening. And so we are asking that you create some space within the environment for some recreational activity of a sort, whether it's on a week or wherever, and then, some employee engagement activities, education on mental health. There are people who think when we talk about mental health, then you are saying the person is gone, insane. But really, I'm sure today when we hear about wellness, you will understand. So when we ask people, and sometimes we are very excited to say, as for this employee of mine, if I ask him or her to be there 8 to 12, he's always going to be there. But that is not the issue. The burnout is affecting productivity. It's affecting